14.
14 years, thank you. In those 14 years, when's the last time you received an envelope addressed to the ethics board or the ethics chair?
I don't recall.
Where is the office or the mail slot for the ethics board or the ethics chair?
I would put it on the counter, I'm sorry.
Thank you. No further questions?
Any redirect, Ms. Holliday?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Bradley. You may call your next witness, Ms. Holliday.
My next witness would be the statement that was received by Ms. Vasquez.
Ms. Vasquez is not here to answer any questions in regards to her statement. Her statement will be accepted as part of the package this board will review. But she's not here physically.
Is this not part of the evidence?
It is a part of the evidence, however, she cannot answer any questions to it since she herself is not present. In your closing statement, if you would like to make some reflection upon it, you're welcome
I'll
to
do
do so.
that.
Any further witnesses that you have, Ms. Holliday, that you would like to present?
May I interject, please? What statement are we referring to, please, regarding Ms. Vasquez?
Ms. Vasquez has made a statement as well, and that would be a part of the complaint against Ms. Vasquez.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with my, because it was just interjected, so that's why you can understand my confusion.
This board is hearing two different complaints right now. There is a complaint against Ms. Vasquez for her handling of the envelope, and there's a complaint against you, Mr. Miller, for your handling of the envelope. Ms. Holliday, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is responding to questions about a statement that Ms. Vasquez made in response to the allegation against Ms. Vasquez.
That's correct.
So there are two simultaneous hearings going right now?
They're all related to the same envelope that was received.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a court of law, but okay.
This is not a court of law. We are simply hearing testimony in regards to the envelopes that were received.
I'll be straight. In all of my years, I don't think I've ever seen two individual ethics complaints heard simultaneously as if they're commingled. Because if that would be the case, then certainly Ms. Vasquez would have an opportunity to have access to everything I have, and she would have access to vice versa.
Your hearings, although they are commingled in the sense that we are receiving the joint testimony about them, the outcome will be decided separately by this board. This board will make a decision in regards to Ms. Vasquez and will make a decision in regards to you. But they arise from the exact same circumstances. Ms. Vasquez was given an opportunity to be here. She chose to make a statement. You elected to be here personally, and that's why we're asking for testimony from you should you choose to put that forward. Ms. Holliday, do you have any further witnesses?
No.
Okay. Mr. Miller, would you like to call the witnesses?
Yes, good evening. First and foremost, I want to actually thank you for your willingness to serve on the ethics board. As a little bit of background, I previously had been an elected official for 4 years in the city of Avondale, State County prior to being appointed here as treasurer. So I certainly have great respect for the time that citizen boards put, especially in Middle Falls. That statement is not to butter you up, it's simply to state that respectfully, I'm going to go through and give my testimony, and although it may seem a little cantankerous at times, there is a rhyme or reason for my testimony. So at this point, I'm going to respectfully give the complainant, Vanessa Holliday, an opportunity to withdraw her complaint, which I contend is frivolous and patently unfounded. Ms. Holliday?
Absolutely not.
Excellent. We'll move on then. Madam Chair, members of the Ethics Board, thank you for the opportunity to submit evidence and call witnesses. Therefore, I call as my first witness, Ethics Chair Ebony McFall Roberts.
Here.
Please come down here to the podium. You'll be addressing the board. Thank you.
you raise your right hand? Do you swear that any evidence you give will be truthful evidence before the Board of Ethics?
I do.
Thank you. I've handed out what I'm going to label as exhibit number 1. It's actually out of the city code ordinances in the charter, specifically 2-40-070, the receipt of complaints. Ms. McFall Roberts, please allow me to provide you a copy of that. Can you please state whether or not you have that document in front of you?
I do.
Can you please read into the record line number 2, beginning with, upon receipt of a complaint in proper form?
Upon receipt of a complaint in proper form, the chair of the Board of Ethics shall forward a copy of the complaint to the city official or officials charged in the complaint within no more than 7 calendar days.
Thank you. Now I'm going to hand out exhibit number 2. This will be section 2-40-80, service complaint. Ms. McFall Roberts, can you please confirm that you are in receipt of 2-40-80 service complaint?
I am.
Can you please read into the record line number 1, beginning with the city clerk shall cause the complaint?
The city clerk shall cause the complaint to be served on a city official charged as soon as practicable, but in no event later than 7 calendar days after receipt of a proper verified complaint.
Thank you. Ms. McFall Roberts, as chair of the Ethics Board and in your capacity as an attorney on the board, would you agree with the statement that there's conflicting information in the city's code of ordinances as to how service is to be conducted with respect to ethics complaints?
I would, which is why that was addressed in our first meeting.
When was that first meeting?
I believe it was August 26th, if memory serves me correctly.
And when was this complaint received?
On around August the 9th.
Ms. McFall Roberts, other than the ethics ordinance, do you have any personal knowledge whatsoever as to the existence of any policy, procedure, or guideline with respect to the receipt of ethics complaints?
Just what the city charter for ethics outlines.
And have provided you a copy of what I'm considering exhibit number 3, which is the certificate of service dated August 16, 2012. Ms. McFall Roberts, can you please state for the record the circumstances by which you personally hand-delivered to the respondent in your official capacity as Ethics Board Chair for the City of Stockbridge the certificate of service and accompanying complaint, specifically a complaint dated August 10, 2012, stamped received August 14, 2012, and authored by Ms. Holliday as complainant?
I don't know that I understand the question that you're asking.
Can you please state for this board exactly how you perform and comply with the certificate of service regarding this complaint?
Yes, the complaint was received by me, and it actually may have been a few days later. I'm sorry, I believe that you were talking about the earlier complaint. This complaint was picked up by me. I stamped it on the 14th as I stamped the complaint. I came back to City Hall. I prepared copies of it. I sent a copy of the certificate of service out to Ms. Holliday as the complainant for her record. I served you with a copy via hand delivery as the charter indicates that I am to do, and because of the conflict in the ordinance which had not been resolved by this board, since this board had not yet had an opportunity to meet, I interpreted this charter literally, and the city clerk also was asked to serve a copy in her capacity.
When did you ask the city clerk to service anything with regard to this complaint?
The same date that my certificate of service is dated for.
Same day.
Yes.
Are you certain of that?
That's the date that I believe that I came to City Hall, August 16th. That's the date that I hand-delivered this to you and also gave copies of the packet to the former clerk to serve as well in her capacity. She was not certain how that needed to be done, so I do not know when she served them.
Do you recall being at City Hall at approximately 11 o'clock on Thursday, August 16, 2012, having come to the utility billing window and asking for entrance, and then having me summoned to meet with you?
Yes,
What was the purpose of having me summoned to meet with you?
to serve this upon
Is that all you did that day?
you. I made copies here.
When you say here, can you
In
back
the-
that? You obviously arrived and you summoned me to the utility building window. What was your request?
That I needed to make copies because there was no one upstairs. I don't believe Ms. Vasquez was here when I first got here.
Excellent. And then was I summoned the second time?
That same day,
Correct.
I did not ask for you specifically at first. When I came to the window, because the receptionist who was there did not know who I was and didn't know if it was proper for me to come in, I believe that's when she got you. I didn't ask for you specifically when I first got here.
So naturally, when someone shows up from the ethics board, since we have no mail receptacle of office, have not received a recollection to that office, a complaint in probably about 14 years, I'm assuming you can understand their confusion when someone comes in and wants to make copies in the finance department. Is that a pretty much correct summation?
I don't believe that my opinion on that is relevant.
I'm going to ask that you answer the question, however.
You asked for an opinion. I don't believe that my opinion on the process for serving complaints here at City Hall is relevant.
So when you summoned me to the front, what did you do?
I did not summon you to the front. I stated to the young lady at the front desk, I do not know her name, that I was the ethics board chair, that I needed to use the copier, and Nicole was at lunch. She went and got you, if memory serves me correctly, you let me in. You directed me to supplies that were in the copy room. I believe it's on the lower floor. And I made the copies there, took what I needed to take with me, and I went ahead and served you. I believe I asked the young lady at the front desk if you were still here. When you came out, I served you with your copy.
Okay, so you as the chair of the ethics personally served me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that was on August 16th, as I stated for the record. So Ms. McFall Roberts, can you please state for the record the circumstances by which you requested the city clerk the following day, August 17, 2012, to request this correspondent along with mayor and council to sign a one-page document acknowledging receipt of a sealed manila envelope with said names on outside envelope?
That was the way that she may have chosen to serve. I did not request that she serve in that way. What I requested that the clerk do is serve in the capacity that the city has suggested or advised her to serve. I don't know what the process is for the city. I can't speak to that.
Mr. Paul Roberts, do you recognize the document I just provided you?
I did not type this document,
But you recognize it.
only because you just handed it to me.
You've never seen it before?
I can't say that I have. I don't recognize it. I see many documents. I'm sorry.
Is the document dated?
It's dated 8/17.
That would be August 17th?
Yes.
Is there any notation on it with any instructions to the city clerk? If so, please read that.
It states that manila envelopes were given to me by Ms. Ebony McFall Roberts on 8/17 at 8:24 a.m. Informed I was to serve mayor and council and Mr. Milliron, city treasurer, in my capacity, and was to serve them as I would anyone else. Manila envelopes were labeled with individual names. Nicole, please serve upon David Milliron. Nicole, please serve upon Mayor Stewart. Harold Cochran, Alfonso Thomas, Mark Alakan, Robin Bushman, Richard Steinberg.
Let the record state that there was a special call meeting by the City Council the morning of August 17th. I made reference previously to August 16th when the chair actually served me with the ethics complaint. On the following day, the city clerk apparently had obtained signatures from the mayor and council. I did not attend that meeting. I believe they were interviewing a city administrator candidate. Later that day, Ms. Vasquez actually came to my office and asked me to sign the document, at which time I photographed the copy for which you have. So I'm simply just showing that on one day there was receipt of a complaint on the 16th and then acknowledgement of service on the 17th. I'm now going to hand out what I'm calling exhibit number 4, which are the ethics board meeting minutes of August 23rd. Paul Roberts, do you have in your possession a copy of the minutes, and are they appear to be the accurate minutes of August 23rd, 2012 of the Ethics Board call meeting?
They appear to be, yes.
Please flip to the last page. Is that your signature on the last page, which is dated August 27, 2012?
It is.
Now, if you would, Ms. McCall Roberts, please flip back to the first page and please read into the record the last paragraph, beginning with, quote, "The decision was made to table."
The decision was made to table the implementation of a system to receive complaints until more research could occur into how other documents are received by the city and the process for serving time, dates of receipt, and present.
Thank you. Previously, I gave you a copy of my ethics complaint service, which as you may recognize as a copy of the ethics ordinance attached to it. Ms. McCall Roberts, based on what you just read from the minutes, please tell me, for the record, as chair of the ethics board and as your capacity as an attorney, where in the city's ethics code does this board have the authority to circumvent city ordinance and create policy with respect to receipt of complaints?
I don't believe that we are trying to circumvent. We simply made a statement in the first meeting that the decision needed to be tabled about how complaints were going to be received. It doesn't speak to any changes into how complaints are going to be served.
Can you please reread the paragraph from the minutes?
The decision was made to table the implementation of a system to receive complaints until more research could occur into how other documents are received by the city and the process for preserving time, dates of receipt at present.
All right, I simply want to show for the record that there's obviously contradictory information that is in the ordinance regarding the city ethics as to receipt of complaints, which has been acknowledged. Certainly this board has discussed that. You now have obviously seen that on 2 different days, different procedures and different individuals made services of complaint, which by nature would actually be an ethics violation complaint if so chose. So I'm now going to give you exhibit number 5, notice of hearing certificate of service, dated August 28, 2012. And I appreciate your patience. I assure you I'm headed in the direction of this. I know on television they hate it when they say, "Are you going somewhere with this?" But I appreciate it. Mr. Paul Roberts, can you please state for the record the circumstances by which you personally hand-delivered the respondent in your official capacity as ethics chair for the city of Stockbridge a certificate of service and notice of hearing and accompanying complaint, specifically a complaint dated August 10, 2012, stamped received August 14, 2012, and authored by Ms. Holliday as complainant?
a complaint that was received originally, which we just discussed, and this is a certificate of service notifying you as well as Ms. Holliday of the notice of hearing, which was decided at the Ethics Board meeting that we have the minutes from dated August 23rd.
How did the respondent come into custody of this particular notice of hearing and certificate of service?
If memory serves me correctly, I handed it to you in your office.
Correct. I just want to state for the record that indeed this was the afternoon of August 28th. Mr. Paul Roberts was on the City Hall floor making photocopies. Upon completion of duplicating documents, she knocked on my office door, provided me the document. As she exited the hallway, she then proceeded down the hallway and slipped a similar envelope under the door of the mayor. She then proceeded to go out to the lobby. I actually came upon her at the back of the lobby. She turned around in a very cordial way, let me know of the hearing, and made a very small talk, and then left the building. So I appreciate it. Ms. Nicole Roberts, as you requested of the city clerk back on August 17, 2012, did you again request the respondent to effect notice of hearing or certificate of service to myself regarding this manila envelope?
To affect the respondent or to affect the clerk?
Did you ask or direct the city clerk to follow the ordinance and effect upon me as the respondent the certificate of service or notice of hearing?
I do not recall if she was here that day. There was one time that I came to serve where she was not here and I had to leave the documents for her, but I don't recall if it was in relation to this complaint or not. But there were notes or telephone calls that she and I would have had if she needed to serve anything under her capacity. I simply followed the charter which said I was also to serve.
Again, let the record show that there are conflicting verbiages in here, which again I'm going to allude to in a moment, but in this case, only the chair of the board actually affected service. The city clerk at no time did. Okay, now just a few more questions. Ms. Nicole Roberts, please refer back to section 2-40-07, and this is the receipt of complaints document that I previously handed out of the city's ethics ordinance. Please let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Can you please read into the record the first line of section B beginning with, quote, upon receipt of a complaint in proper form?
Upon the entire paragraph?
Yes.
Upon receipt of a complaint in proper form, the three, numerical 3, board members assigned to the case shall review it to determine whether the complaint is unjustified, frivolous, patently unfounded, or fails to state facts sufficient to invoke the disciplinary jurisdiction of the City Council. The Board of Ethics is empowered to dismiss in writing complaints that it determines are unjustified, frivolous, patently unfounded, or fail to state facts sufficient to invoke the disciplinary jurisdiction of the City Council. Provided, however, that a rejection of such complaint by the Board of Ethics shall not deprive the complaining party of any action such party might otherwise have at law or in equity against the city official. For complaints that are not dismissed, the Board of Ethics is empowered to collect evidence and gather information concerning any complaint and add the findings and results of its investigations to the file containing such complaint.
Thank you. Ms. Nicole Roberts, will you now please refer back to the minutes from the August 23rd, 2012 Ethics Board call meeting? Please let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Please flip to page number 2 and read into the record the 5th paragraph, beginning with dated August 10, 2012, ethics complaint dash alleged city treasurer.
Dated August 10th, ethics complaint, alleged city treasurer David Miller operated in clear violation of City Stockbridge ethics ordinance regarding the receipt of complaint process brought by Vanessa Holliday. Move forward by unanimous vote.
Please, for the record, emphasize and repeat the last 2 words of those minutes.
Unanimous vote.
Last question, Ms. Nicole Roberts, can you please identify for the record by name which members of the ethics board constituted the unanimous vote?
all four members that are seated above, Ms. Beezer, Ms. Neal, Ms. Reed, and Ms. Glad.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Did you say 4 members?
4 members. 3 are assigned to review the complaint.
Which 3 were assigned to review the complaint?
The entire board hears the complaint. There's another section in the charter, which you have not provided here, which states that at least 3 board members must be present in order to form a quorum.
I have a complete copy of the ethics ordinance that I've provided you. If you want to please refer back to 3 versus 4 so that we can establish the correct verbiage in the record. Please tell me which code section you're relying on for 3 for the unanimous vote. Board of Ethics, subsection A. The very last statement says the board shall take no action without a quorum, which shall consist of the chairman and at least 3 members of the Board of Ethics. I understand that in order to open the meeting a quorum, but again, I just had you read into the record 2-40-070, receipt of complaints, which the board has in front of you, specifically section B, which you read into the record, which says upon receipt of a complaint in proper form, the 3 board members assigned to the case shall review it to determine. You're telling me that the unanimous is 4. So are you saying that this ordinance was violated?
If you choose to interpret it in that way, that's not my interpretation of it. My interpretation of it is that you are allowed to have 3 board members and no less than 3 review a complaint because 3 constitutes a quorum. I myself, as the ethics chair, only votes in a tie-breaking capacity. We had 4 board members who were present. Those 4 board members all voted unanimously to not make a decision that night, but to move the complaint forward, to allow the complainant to provide additional evidence and any additional testimony she chose to do so.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ms. McCall Roberts, in the section 2.40.070, receipt of complaints, does it state that the treasurer is to receive any complaint received by the city?
No, I do not see that language.
Does it state that the treasurer should forward any such complaint and redirect it to the city attorney for the city?
I do not see that language.
I have no more questions. Ms. McCall Roberts, thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate your time and willingness to answer questions. Okay, at this time I'm going to enter into the record testimony and documents showing the aforementioned complaint is baseless and without merit. The complaint states that, quote, on Thursday, August 9, 2012, the treasurer, and I'm reading from the ethics complaint, David Miller took possession of a package from the city clerk, Nicole Vasquez, that was clearly marked confidential and addressed to the ethics board chair. Took possession of a package from the city clerk, Nicole Vasquez. You've already heard testimony, sworn testimony, that Nicole Vasquez was not in the building at the time of receipt of this package. This is a false statement. At no time did I ever take possession of a package from the city clerk. Again, the record will show that it was Mayor Lee Stewart who took possession of the package and who ought to be the subject of the ethics complaint as well. When I state took possession of the package, it is Mayor Lee Stewart who took possession of the package. 2, quote, David Milliron had this package in his possession for almost 2 hours. Yet again,